Welcome back to the Apatros Review, special episode, DVD Imperfections and Artifacts. Hi there, welcome back. Now this is a special episode I'm doing to describe about different problems you can find on DVDs. Basically video artifacts and print imperfections. Now every DVD collector collects DVDs for one good reason: their technical superiority to older formats like VHS or Laserdisc thanks to the advancement of DVD technology, a remastering of print quality to allow viewers to see a good, nice, perfect picture. Well, even an advanced format like DVD has some imperfections that will be annoying or even insulting to those who collect DVDs, mainly if you collect cheap ones. While DVDs are unparalleled in their capacity to provide a professionally produced and theatrical quality, great quality to the home viewer, usually for far less cost than constantly replacing old VHS tapes every 5 to 10 years or so, and with the promise that these laser-etched plastic discs will provide consistent quality for at least a century, provided you take good care of the disc itself. However, the superior quality of this format means that some rather annoying imperfections and visual glitches do tend to pop up, especially when those who manufacture the DVD don't pay too close attention to what they're doing. In this episode, I'll take you on a guide to these video imperfections. I'll list them in alphabetical order and describe each one. Some of you may have seen some of these problems in your own collections, while others are pretty rare but do show up in even the most extensive DVD collections. Personally, I have like 1,200 discs in my collection, and some of them do have some of these imperfections because I do have some cheap DVDs in my collection. So let's get started, shall we? First, aliasing. This is an artifact belonging to interlaced video, mainly due to their nature. Basically, aliasing is when sharp lines and fine details in the video image look as though they're shimmering or moving, particularly when the camera is moving across these details, like for example car grills, Venetian blinds, and anything that shows a lot of fine lines or patterns on it. To explain this kind of problem, I need to explain the basics of video projection on video monitors. Normal film is a series of pictures displayed at the rate of 24 frames per second. A video, particularly PAL video or phase alternating line, which is a video format that we use in Britain, Western Europe, and Australia, and New Zealand, consists of 576 lines of information, where half the lines are shown, then the other half, so odds and evens precisely. This format was created because at the time of early television, there wasn't any way at the time to make something more perfectly more advanced. When it comes to DVDs, those that are authored from VHS material suffer from permanent aliasing, while DVDs made from film materials will only display aliasing when shown on a standard definition PAL TV screen. Nowadays, we have progressive scan players and displays that will get rid of this annoying artifact. So you'll see some aliasing on older DVDs, but if you have a current generation TV, high definition and Blu-ray players and progressive scan players and upscalers, this problem won't be seen. Now, analog tape tracking errors. Anybody who has grown up or owned VHS tapes like me will know of this one. Essentially, VCR tracking errors that show up as horizontal lines across the screen. Basically a tracking glitch. This artifact only shows up on DVDs that have been made from really poor VHS transfers. I've seen quite a few of these. The MPEG encoding of these troublesome DVDs tends to amplify the problem. I've seen some really bad examples of this from bargain basement DVDs that have been sourced from atrociously worn VHS tapes. Fortunately, this artifact is very, very rare. Chroma noise. An artifact of analog video processing, chroma noise is when random image noise appears in images that have a large section of color, mainly blue, making the colors look rather grainy. This is now pretty rare due to current DVDs being made from digital processing. Color bleeding. This one's simple to explain. One color in an image bleeding into another. This is caused by low-resolution video processing and during scenes of excessive color saturation. This tends to be seen mostly on either badly made major label DVDs in the old days or really cheap DVDs taken from VHS or analog transfers. Comet trails. More of a technical explanation for this one. Comet trails occur when the camera pans across something that is really bright, and due to the poor quality older analog cameras at the time, this bright color looks like a streaking comet, hence the name. You'll see this in older music videos from the 1980s or 70s, concert performances, anything shot on video in the 1980s or earlier, or classic pre-millennial Doctor Who episodes. One example is Earthshock, which is one of my favorite Doctor Who episodes. Cross-coloration. This one is rare to see, even then only due to incorrect connections on your TV or DVD player. Anything that Has been processed with a composite video format. It tends to show false colors around black and white fine lines. This one's only avoided by checking your connections, and also shows up in the old black and white movies that have been processed in a different video format. Digital tape dropouts. Have you ever seen a DVD picture that breaks up with tiny square dots invading the video picture? This is when a digital tape master print, which is sometimes used in processing, suffers from a failure in the processing equipment, causing a very brief invasion of little off-color dots to take up a good portion of the picture. I've only seen this one rarely. A good example would be the cheap Region 4 DVD of Alone in the Dark 2. Very early on in the film, the screen breaks up just briefly, for a brief second, when Michael Perez is looking up at the sky, before the witch hunters into the toilet block in Central Park. Dot crawl. Another VHS era visual glitch. This consists of colored dots moving like a conga line of ants, usually across solid color logos from VHS tapes or anything that was taped with a standard VCR. You can eliminate this one by using high definition connections or S-video or RGB connections. The most common place to see this one is on old VHS label logos. Edge enhancement. This is something that was deliberately done on VHS tapes to define some of them, to define foreground objects in order to make them stand out from the background, due to the hazy nature of VHS. This is only seen on some VHS tapes and some DVDs that were made from those affected tapes. Positive and negative artifacts. This is like old school film artifacts. Dirt on the original film stock, scratches, flecks of film resolution that didn't stay on the picture, or hairs caught in the telecine machine. You'll see this one quite commonly on DVDs made from old master film reels, or for even new DVDs made from old films can have this one. Mosquito noise, also known as the Gibb effect. This one's a compression artifact, similar to dot crawl, where incorrectly colored dots appear in opening and closing credits due to MPEG compression flaws. If you have a PlayStation 3 console or some high-end DVD players, you might be able to adjust your mosquito noise reduction. Interlacing. Usually seen in animated features, this is only present when a DVD is made from an interlaced source. Just take any animated movie or cartoon episode, old school hand-drawn ones, and slow-mo your way through some scenes. You'll see the image staggering through steps. Low-level noise. This is when black portions of an image don't appear full, instead of having grainy bits of light shades of black or even gray dots in it. This is something that affected old VHS tapes done from analog masters, and only DVDs made from old digital processors will not display this problem. Macro blocking. An inherent issue with MPEG compression. Anybody who's had a standard domestic DVD recorder will have noticed this. I personally own a great many DVDs that I've made myself from copies of redundant DVDs I didn't want to keep or VHS tapes I wanted to preserve. Macro blocking occurs when the MPEG compression software makes a mistake on which parts of the video image it wants to preserve, and which ones it wants to remove in order to fit the video into the quality recording mode it's told to use. For example, I used to use SLP mode or 6-hour mode in order to fit 6 hours of footage on my DVDs, but this mode caused the quality to dramatically drop, and the compression was so severe in that mode that the picture's details were worse than old VHS tape. I've since switched to SP mode and EP mode for my recording needs. As a result, the more severe the compression, the more blocky the picture looks. This usually affects the darkest parts of an image. Microphone noise, or microphony. Another thing you'll notice in DVDs made from very old video cameras, such as those I use to record the classic episodes of Doctor Who, where this occurs pretty commonly. It occurs when the camera is exposed to a very loud sound, like an explosion or a gunshot, and the video pickup tubes actually vibrate, causing distortions in the video image. Human ears are vulnerable to loud noises, and so are very old video cameras. Moira effects. A type of rounded interference seen when an old CRT type TV set is filmed, causing round lines to move on the TV screen, particularly when the camera zooms in or out of it. Noise reduction. Like image enhancement, this is deliberately done artifact where DNR software is used to smooth out the rough spots in the picture that has been severely compressed. It gives people's faces a waxy look and has the effect of objects like people's faces move in unnatural ways. Overmodulation. An oldie in artifacts that is never seen these days, this bugger occurs when the old generation of video cameras have their recording settings turned up too high, a sort of visual static. Besides the fact that all current generation video cameras have protection against this artifact, DVDs made from old VHS tapes also tend to show this one. Posterization. A color stepping fault when color changes are too abrupt, resulting in staggered color transitions. Reel change markings. This one's common to many DVDs, particularly those of the cheap variety where the film reels is transferred straight to DVD. These markings are black or white circles that exist to tell the automated cinema projectors to change the film reels, usually coming about once every 20 minutes, which is the average length of a 35mm film reel. One example of a DVD with these markings is the region for release of Westworld. Just one example. Many cheap DVDs might have taken from theatrical film prints also have this markings. Splice markings. Something you'll notice in a lot of films that have the 2:35 aspect ratio, which has resulted in such aspect ratio films to be matted at 2:40:1 to hide these editing marks. And last, telecine wobble. Pretty simple to explain. This occurs when a specially modified film projector changes the film print into a video-friendly format of VHS and some DVD processing, only for the film to get a little movement during the conversion due to the sprockets moving, resulting in the picture wobbling as if it was a drunken sailor who chugged too much vodka. Who's sprockets, anyone? And that is it. I hope this will explain any of the problems you might find in your DVD if such problems occur. That is it for this episode.